G'day my friends, Marty Ware here from Marty's Garden, and today I've got an awesome video for you. Give you more than 5 good reasons. You know they always do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, 7 things. Well, I'm just going to explode it into the universe and let you decide what's best for you about bale gardening and why you would want to introduce bales into your garden, whether it be pea, straw, grass, sugarcane. It's all really good stuff. Just needs to be used a little bit differently, and you know, everyone's got their discrepancies. I'm just using grass bales here. It occasionally sprouts grass. I'm not too worried about that. I just pull the little grass bits out, or the chickens eat it, or it just gets recomposted again, and I'm happy with what I'm using. And I recommend that you use what's local. If you're all the way down in Tasmania, like someone asked me recently, don't use sugarcane. It's travel too far. You've got to pay all those extra rates, and support someone that's local, and you can improve your place and your soil structure, your garden, and all the beautiful stuff, just like I am here. Look at this. This is a bale garden, my friends. Now you can see bales around the outside. That's sort of just holding it up. And there's bales in the middle, which are about 6 months old. They went through the winter time. And I've got basil growing in the centre there. Grew right through the winter. First time I've ever been able to grow basil right through the winter time. So I'm just moving the camera here. We can get a little bit closer to this basil here. Now I'll let you know a little tip before we get into more about this. I'm just going to move this forward so we can see here. Underneath all this basil, there's lots of little basils coming up. And you throw the seed underneath, and it gets protected by the harsh sun. No birds will come and squash on it and tread on your seedlings and things like that, which is happening to me at the moment. And you can then remove the older basil and let the new stuff grow up through. And any other plants that you want to actually grow up through, you can do that, because it'll become sun hardened over time, and your plants will just become better and better. Now, these bales here that I've got along the side here, along here and along here, they're just fresh ones. They're just holding it up. I'm actually sitting on a bale right now. And what do? Well, number one, best thing they do is great food. When you put compost on, you slow compost it down. But I can talk about that more, the composting, later on. Let's do number 2. Other than growing a lot of food for you, they build soil structure. Amazing soil structure over time, whether you're on sandy soil, whether you're on heavy clays, all that type of thing. You don't have to worry about digging. So that's a beautiful thing. Number 3, what would number 3 be? Anyone want to have a guess? Yep, the microbes and the fungi absolutely love it, because it's a carbon. And how do they grow mushrooms around the place? They use bales at a lot of places and feed it chicken manure. Introduce the spores, and then it grows a lot of mushrooms. So great stuff for soil biology and ecology, or whatever they want to call it, for growing living soils. Now, the other thing is, probably can feed it to animals. Makes a great chicken bedding. And also, where are we up to? Are we up to number 4? Number 4, I believe. Cucumbers and all that type of stuff. Love to grow in it. They absolutely love it. All that family. Zucchinis, cucumbers. Oh, I'm just shooting here like this. And they just grow crazy in the stuff. Now, have you ever seen, like when you're gardening and you see things popping out of the compost when you're composting, and you go, that's pretty interesting. Well, guess what you're doing when you're bale gardening? Number 4 is you're composting on site. You're creating a no-dig garden, composting and growing plants at the same time. And guess what? Number 5, I don't think I've mentioned number 5, the worms love it. So if you're putting compost worms in, you're introducing them in with your compost, they'll live in there, they'll eat through the bales, and you grow amazing plants like this. Now, I'm going to bring it even closer now. Let's get it even closer and come down. And look, we're getting closer into the basil here, and we've got some cucumbers down here. We've got our bok choy going into seed here, and this has had more, I think about 7 big harvests on it or more. I can't even remember. I just keep cutting it and making pad kapow. I don't have the Thai basil, so pad kapow is Thai basil actually with mince, but I just use that and grow it so I can make my mince sort of meals and put it in with fish sauce, soy sauce, a little bit of sugar and some veggies and mix it all in together with any type of mince, and man, I'm telling you, it makes a killer meal. Now, I promised that I'd give you more than 5, and it's not too hard to do, to be honest, guys, because it's just so good. Look, you can fill your garden beds with it. Yeah, right. So that's what I did here. I've been doing that for years now, since I come in here and started this garden. This has gone through 2 lots of bales in here. This season it won't have bales in there. It'll just be growing, and then next in the winter time, when this summer is finished, it'll be fallen down enough, and I'll put the next lot of bale garden straight on top and build soils with it. Now, number 6 is, guess what? You can build big compost bays with them too. Look what I've done here in the chicken run here. Now, the chickens are already around the corner and everything like that. If I went buck, 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 they'd probably come running, but they're not. So they must be like dust bathing down the back. So I've got a compost run running through the middle there. They come and turn it all over, and it's surrounded by bales, so they can't kick it everywhere. And if there's any soil life in there, any worms and fungi and different things, you can get in there and move through. It sprouts up little shoots and things like that, creating food for the worms. And I can come in and harvest out of that, put it into worm farms, into my composting systems, and use it on the garden. So there we go. There's another great way for using bales. Now, if you want to get strategic, you can also do other things, like put it under your fruit trees and around the bottom of your fruit trees, and then put the compost on top, which I'm going to talk about in a minute how I do it. So you can put it around, like all the way around, and then plant on top of the bales and be mulching and fertilizing your fruit trees at the same time. Now, in summer, you would put plants under there that are shade-loving plants. And in winter, the sun's lower, sun's coming in, you can put plants in there and keep them really warm and grow things like tomatoes and stuff where you wouldn't really normally be able to do it in season. So let's come down to where we first originally started, my friends, because this stuff is gold, believe you me. Now, the good thing about bale gardening is it's really easy. There's not a lot of digging involved. Now, the first lot of bales, what they did was, when they were bale gardening, it became really popular, is they heated it up with nitrogen. So they put in type of urea or something like that to sort of compost it down. They would test the heat, and once it cooled down, then they would start throwing in the compost, feeding it, and plant into it. I do a little bit different. I'm cold composting on site here, and just letting the bales cure slowly over time. Now, these are fresh ones around the outside, but if you look when you're over at the chicken pen, you saw that they were old and crusty, and they sucked in a lot of moisture, and they were starting to break down and lift out and become humusy. That's when they're at their best. But you can grow short cover crops on them at first, like just shallow cover crops, and just water and water. And as they're breaking down more, plant deeper crops into them, till eventually you can even put like sweet potatoes in them, tomatoes, cucumbers, peas, beans. You can grow whatever you want out of these things. And this lot's going to be planted out real soon. Now, if you've got any questions about bale gardening, or you want to share some of your tips and tricks in the comments box down below, I would love to hear them. I'm sure the community would love to hear from them also. Are you doing it? Have you tried it? Have you had some success with it? Now, just be careful if you're adding a lot of nitrogen to it at the beginning, like I said, how they originally do it to heat it up. It can attract ants if you're using blood and bone and stuff like that. I prefer the cold composting method, where you just let it cure down, you start throwing compost on top, putting smaller crops, and then slowly bigger crops as it's breaking down more. And then eventually, when you've harvested everything, just throw it all in. Throw more on top. No digging, just plant again. What could be better than that, eh? It's a great way to grow food. If you can get hold of bales, give it a go. Just get 3 or 4, give it a trial. If you like it, give it a go and let me know how you grow. All right, have a great day. Happy gardening. Here comes the flexi hand. We'll see you at the next video. See that? That's a kung fu move. Bye for now. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. There it is. Bye for now.